Preview.
That's quick. Okay. Did you seriously just belch into that?
No, I did
You
not.
just did. I think you just did.
I did not.
I'm pretty sure I heard you belch into it.
I'm pretty sure what you're talking about.
Pretty sure you don't.
With the date. What's up with
Well, Happy New Year. Today's New Year's Day. We are the Schmoopies. We decided to start a podcast because we're always doing and saying crazy stuff, and sometimes crazy stuff happens to us. So I guess crazy to us. You might be able, somebody out there might be able to relate to some of our stories, but for instance, last October? So we live in a private community, like a lake community, so people tend to be a little bougie out here, but we've always done things a little differently for the holidays or decorations, whatever. We do weird stuff. We try to think outside the box, and we're Walking Dead fans. So last Halloween, I decided, you know what, I'm going to do a Walking Dead theme. I found a guy that did it on YouTube, and I put out some themes out there. He had Rick in his sheriff uniform pointing a gun, and, Michonne out there, rock on Michonne, and Daryl, and then some zombies. And I thought that was just the funniest thing. And the neighbors next door, the kids are like, you just guys get creepier and creepier every year. And I just thought that was hilarious. So we didn't even have this set up out there for even 12 hours. Now, mind you, we have security here. We used to have an actual deputy out here that was commissioned by the sheriff's department, but when he retired, the sheriff decided he didn't want to commission anybody, so they hired a retired cop. And his retired cop is from a bigger city, so they get douchier in the bigger cities that they work in. And he came out here. The guy's retired, and he had a right plan, wrong house. He definitely thought he had a plan, and thought his authority was going to work here. And yeah, he found out wrong. He wakes me up 2 hours into my sleep because I work nights. And 2 hours into my sleep, I'm getting a knock on my door, and he's telling me, and of course he lies, he tells me that somebody complained about it. Well, nobody complained about it because he's so tuned in to the guy dressed up like a sheriff pointing a gun that he was just so concerned about that. I'm like, it sounds to me like you got a problem with this. And he didn't like the fact that I told him to go pound sand. So, yeah, it's just the dumbest, weirdest things. I mean, who the hell shows up at somebody's house to tell them that their yard display is inappropriate? I'm like, no, I'm not taking it down. You're dumb, so go away. So, but yeah, I mean, and full disclosure, guys, I am a cop. But I'm not your conventional cop. I have my opinions. I'm not one of those that's going to push my authority on somebody because I think I'm bigger and badder and I've got a pride to prove. So I'm going to have opinions that are going to be a little contradicted to law enforcement. So just a heads up on that. Is there anything you wanted to add or start talking about before I start talking about my talking points?
No.
They're dear. No?
No.
You ain't got nothing? You heard me talking earlier about the First Amendment audit people?
No.
This seems to be kind of a new thing. I don't know how long. From what I've seen, these auditors are going around the country, mostly in the areas that they live in the surrounding states, just like in the last couple of years, I think. And some of the stuff I agree with. I mean, they're testing their rights. I mean, it's their First Amendment rights. And I agree that people of authority have done things their way for so many years, and now people are now putting them to the test. And I can't say that I don't blame them. And what about, how do you feel about that?
I never heard of the auditors before.
But what do you think about the people's First Amendment rights?
I'm all for it.
Okay, so if you're like, let's say you're coming out of your work, and you see somebody standing on the sidewalk and they're filming you loading up stuff into your car or in your truck or whatever, you gonna have a problem with them doing that?
No, I don't care.
I don't have an issue with it, right? I mean, who cares?
Honestly, it depends on the day.
Yeah.
Depends on my mood.
Yeah.
I may say something, may not.
Well, I wouldn't. I don't care. I mean, there's freaking cameras everywhere. We've got surveillance cameras everywhere. We got them on our house, for crying out loud. I mean, it'd be just like somebody complaining walking past our house going, you've got a camera on me. Well, it's on my house. I can do whatever I want to do. So I don't have a problem with it. I do have a problem with some of the guys in these groups are a little aggressive. They're trying to be aggravators. I mean, if you go in, you do it what you got to do and be respectful about it. You know, but sometimes these guys do get pushed. I mean, I've watched plenty enough of these videos that they're getting pushed to defend themselves, and I guess I can understand that too. So there are some of their comments, some of their approaches I don't like them telling cops that they're their boss. They're taxpayers and they're their boss. Okay, to an extent, you're right. Yeah, you're taxpayers. So is he. He's not a cop. He's a taxpayer. You don't see him going around telling them that he's my boss. Well, he does. But we all know who's the boss. Anyways, I mean, I want a raise then. Give me a raise. You're my boss, right? Give me a raise. Or how about if I got a problem with a coworker, do I come to you? I want a day off. Do I come to you? So you're not my boss. My boss is my boss. My captain, my chief. Those guys are my bosses. The people that you vote in, those are the people that, you know, you can have some sort of control over. But, you know, the elected officials, but, you know, when you work for the city or whatever, or the state, they're not elected officials. But I don't think I don't understand what you're saying, though. Okay, I do understand what you're saying. We have to be held to a level of accountability and be professional and be decent to people. And I try to do that every day. But I have seen people violate people's rights numerous times, and I have said things, and it's fallen on deaf ears. So I can only do what I can do as, you know, just a street cop. So. I do have a couple of favorite groups that I think are pretty awesome. I mean, they're pretty respectful people. I love them. They really do stand their ground, and they're not scared. But they're also comical, but they're also respectful too. And like I said, these guys, for anybody that's watching that works into a government facility or a local facility, literally, they're just going in testing to see if you're going to violate their rights. If you just let them go in, ask you a few questions, take some pictures, they're going to leave. They're not going to stick around. They're just testing you. That's what an audit is, right? I mean, it is just testing out that location. So let them do it and let them go. You start arguing with them, now you've challenged them. Now they're going to be... They're going to push it. Another thing is that they sit there and they complain about that person calling the cops, but yet I've seen these auditors call the cops because they're being pushed out of a building. So you need to make up your mind. Do you want the cops' help or you don't want the cops' help? It's like you pick and choose what you want. And so don't get 100% mad at the street cops, because sometimes, yeah, they're not educated. And to how you guys are and what you're testing for, and you know, they're just doing what they're told. So try not to get too hard on them. But the favorite ones I really like is Auditing America. I think these guys are at the top of the list. This Enrique Morales, this guy's very respectful, very cool. Not real fond of his partner Will. The guy's a bit of a conspiracy theorist. I don't really dig him too much. He's kind of weird, but the News Now in Houston and News Now community, his name's David. That guy's cool. He literally, all he does is he goes to a facility and he's out on the street or the sidewalk where it's publicly accessible. I mean, let the guy alone. Let him do what he's got to do. He's testing you. If you're going to sit there and fight with him, they're going to sue you and they're going to win. That's all there is to it. And then third is the News Now South Carolina. His name's Dave. This guy is hilarious. He stands his ground. He knows the laws. He knows what he's talking about. Don't mess with him and he's not going to mess with you. That's all there is to it. The guy is a character. Real good character. The people that I don't like are the ones that get real confrontational. They're calling cops pigs and just being just real fucking assholes to these guys for no reason, like off the bat, and real confrontational, and that's Rogue Nation and Furry Potato. Furry Potato, you're psycho, okay? You got shot in the leg for a reason, because you are way off your chain doing the stuff that you do. But I also commend you because, you're standing your ground and you're not scared of anything. So I think that's pretty decent. So, yeah, and you know what? And I've seen plenty of cops detained because they wouldn't give their ID. And, you know, you're right. If they're not being detained for possibly committing a crime or have committed a crime, then you don't have to give them their IDs. Same with the passengers in the back seats. I've seen people get yanked out of their cars. So now that you've heard me talk about some of this stuff,
I have no idea. The first time I'm hearing about almost all this, so.
Well, you got to have an opinion on some of this stuff. I mean, you've got some people that are advocates for this stuff, and they're, you know.
I guess it's good. It's good and it's bad, just like you said. I don't know. I haven't seen any of the YouTube clips or anything, so I don't know the extent of what they do or how they go about it.
And I don't know. And also that Enrique kid, he's like telling them, well, I pay your salary. Well, who do you think pays your salary on YouTube? Us viewers. People that are viewing you. People that are subscribing to your channel. Is it okay if we come to your house and start filming your house? Are you going to be okay with that? You might. I don't know. But, I mean, maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want to be famous and having, you know, paparazzi type people coming after you. I don't know. But, you know, that stuff can go both ways. Yeah, we're all we're all taxpayers. So, that's just my opinion about that.
I agree. Like I said, I haven't researched anything about this or seen really any of those.
Okay. You want to elaborate on that, or?
Yeah, I didn't watch them on YouTube, so I
do you want to expand on that?
I don't know what you're. I understand what you're saying, but I haven't seen them, so I don't know what I should comment on then.
Well, I mean, these guys are going in and stirring things up, and some of it's righteous, some of it's, you know, a little over the top. If somebody was filming you at the airport, would you care?
No, I wouldn't even notice.
I wouldn't notice either. But these guys are getting kicked out of airports, Amtraks, city halls.
I think that's probably their goal anyway, isn't it?
It is. Well, it's their goal to test them. I mean, if these guys come up to them.
To get confrontations so they get views on YouTube.
Well, that, and they can sue them. There's plenty of people that are suing these places that are making, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in lawsuits. You know, Dave's got a lawsuit out just recently. I don't remember if Auditing America does, but I know for sure the News Now Houston and community guy, David, he's either got one out or he's had several out before, and he's won. I hope that they don't come into our town and we fail, because that's all we need. So, well, that's just my opinion. I thought I'd talk about it just from a cop's perspective. I know there's a lot of cops that are subscribing to a lot of these guys' channels. I gotta say, I agree with some of their points and disagree with some of their other points. You know, I mean, if you're looking for a confrontation, you know, tell me you're my boss, and you're probably gonna get it. So I'd hate to think that I would get into it with some of you guys, especially some of the guys I actually do like to watch. But you know, unless you're gonna give me a raise or do something that is gonna benefit me, I've got a directive that I have to follow. I, however, would not violate your First Amendment rights. I promise you that. So, yeah, hopefully I didn't agitate anybody with my opinions. But, you know, you've got yours and you have the right to yours, so I've got the right to mine.
Yes, you do.
You got anything else to say, dear?
No, that's it.
You sure?
You said it all.
I said it all? Well, I tried to include you in this conversation, and you...
Like I said, I didn't know anything. I haven't watched any of those guys. I don't know.
Well, maybe you need to.
I got better things to do.
Well, who else do you subscribe to that you want to talk about?
Nobody.
What about Bert Kreischer, your fave?
Oh, I just follow him on Instagram.
Oh, you don't watch his YouTube channels?
No, not really.
Mm-hmm.
In a long time.
What about Tommy Lee or whatever his name is?
Oh, Bobby?
Bobby Lee, that's it.
I just followed.
And Joe Rogan.
Oh, I listened to their podcast.
Yeah, you listen to their podcast. Don't got anything to say about that?
No, they're good. You should listen to their podcast.
All right, we're down to a minute. Time to shut it down.
All right.
See ya.